guys, Nadia here from createinspain. Looking at my lamp here, you might be thinking I was going to either do some nails or make some stamps. No, to either of those. I'll put this aside for just a moment and show you what I have in mind. This. Now this isn't a particularly expensive brush, I will grant you, but there are quite a lot of young women, I guess, maybe girls and perhaps some boys, who are into art, who like decent brushes, but the handles are a little bit, well, dull. This, for example, is a Daler Rowney Aquafine round watercolour brush, and it's a very nice brush. The handle, yeah, not wonderful. A little boring perhaps. So I decided that for a little bit of fun, it would be interesting to find out if I could glitter up a handle relatively easily. What I did with this one is I put on a coat of clear lacquer and I applied some glitter. The first layer of glitter I applied to this was actually a gold, and I didn't put it all the way over, I just put it on part of the way. I just sort of put a little here, a little there, you know, just splattered it on really. And then I let that dry and I put on another layer of glue and I put on some, shall we say, quite glitzy glitter. It's quite a fine one, but it's quite glitzy. And I allowed it to dry, and then I put a coat, a thin coat of triple thick varnish over it. And the reason for that is because I wanted to make sure that all the glitter was contained. Now it is still rough at the moment, as I would expect, because it's not a really fine glitter. So what I'm going to do is try an experiment, and I have here some nail builder gel. This is a clear one. It wasn't an expensive one, and hence the reason I have a silicone fingertip on. Because this stuff is absolutely awful to try and get out of brushes without using acetone, I thought, well, can I just sort of splodge it on? So I'm going to see if that works or not, as the case may be. Because I figured that since it is self-leveling, it probably doesn't make much difference what I use to actually put it on in the first place, as long as there's enough on it. So that's had a bit of a flash cure. Hold that end and put the other end under the lamp. If I switch that on, I know it's got 2 minutes. Now I'm going to clean off the little bit of gel that was on my fingers, because I really don't want it staying on your fingers, and I'll do that with just normal rubbing alcohol. Now I've cured this under the lamp. It still has a sticky layer on it at the moment, but I already know that I need to give it another coat, but not a problem. Now when I prepped this brush handle, I happened to use my e-file with an arbor band, and it did it very quickly, very easily, no problem at all. And it's a nice easy way of doing it. If you don't have an e-file and arbor bands, then I suggest you just use a fine sanding paper like you normally would for preparing a wooden surface. But I need to pop it under the lamp for a little while to harden before I just put it onto the paper, because obviously I don't want to stick it to the paper, do I? But this, I think, is a great idea. If you've got someone who's keen on art and they like their nice brushes, it would be a great Christmas gift idea for the Christmas stocking. Buy some brushes and do the handles. If someone isn't that interested in art but just, you know, likes messing around with it, just buy some cheaper brushes and decorate the handles. You could even put monograms and things on if you want to with vinyl. So here's my finished brush handle. I'm not sure that you can see the effect of this too well under the camera. Let me bring in an extra light, see if this helps. don't know if you can actually see the beautiful shine on here. Now the actual acrylic gel has a nice smooth finish on here now with 2 coats. It is a slightly matte finish. If you want it to be super glossy, shiny, then I suggest, if your normal builder gel doesn't actually give you that finish straight away, and some of them don't, then I suggest you put a coat of clear lacquer over the top, and that will gloss it up considerably. But that is nice and tough, it's strong, it's not going to chip very easily, and in actual fact it looks pretty sparkly. Now I've done this one in a silver multicolour iridescent type of glitter, but obviously you can choose different colours of glitter for different people, or you could do a whole set of brushes and even have them in different colours for the different sizes. That would be quite nice too. This is a pretty standard 18-inch ruler. Now, for those of you in the States, you're using inches. For those of us in the EU and in the UK, if it's no longer in the EU by the time you watch this, we generally use centimetres. We went metric many years ago. This plastic ruler is quite handy. It has centimetres on one side and inches on the other. And I do find myself reaching for it if I ever want to convert one to the other. And I also find myself obviously reaching for it just to measure something quickly. But this ruler didn't have this colouring on this side of it. It was simply a transparent ruler. And what I decided I wanted to do was to stick it onto the front of my desk, so that I could get at it easily and I didn't have to dig it out of a drawer all the time. And I chose the plastic one for this purpose because it's smooth. If your arm is rubbing over it, you're not going to scratch yourself or anything. So although I've got an 18-inch metal ruler, I chose to use this one. But the problem I found, of course, is that if I put it on this surface, the numbers weren't that easy to see. So what I did was I got this tape. Now this is a DIY type tape. I have no idea what it's called. I don't even really know what it's used for. But I cut it down, I cut it to length and put it on the back of my ruler. Now in order to get it nice and straight there, I used another ruler. I put all the tape down, used another ruler, and then just trimmed off the excess tape that I didn't want. And what I'm going to do is to use some little glue dots to put it on the front of my desk. That way, if I need to move it to clean underneath, I want to give my desk a good clean over, I can pick it up easily, put it back later on if I still want it there. And I think that's going to be quite a handy thing to have on the edge of my desk. My third little tip for today is to get some of these. If you like to have luminaries in the house around Christmas time, for example, well, maybe other times as well. I found this in Domti, which is a very common store in Spain. I did have a look on Amazon, but I can't find them on Amazon, at least not the kind of price that I paid for this. I paid €2 for this nightlight. It's a colour changing nightlight, and this is what it looks like. It has a battery compartment on the bottom. Now forgive the sticky tape on here. It comes with a very tiny screw, but you need a special screwdriver, a really small screwdriver head, to undo it. Now because I'm not planning on putting this in a child's room, I'm quite happy to have a piece of tape over the cover for the batteries. It doesn't bother me. You switch it on by a switch here. Now I have found some very similar ones on AliExpress, and this is the reason why I'm putting this video out now. It is October the 10th as I'm making this. Now, things that ship from China tend to take a while. If you want some of these for Christmas, then I suggest you order them pretty rapidly. As I said, I pay €2 for this, and the batteries that it takes are these. It takes 3 of them, and it's LR44s or 357s, as it said, G13s, and I paid €1 in Donti for an entire strip of these. So yeah, the batteries were cheap enough. Looking at the AliExpress website that has something very, very similar, takes the same batteries. It is a 6x6 centimetre cube. I did measure this and it's a fraction over 6 centimetres, so that would be right. And it is a multicoloured nightlight. The battery life on it says continuous use for 22 hours. So you wouldn't have it on all the time unless you want to change the batteries, but it could be nice to have on, you know, at odd times. As it does have an on and off switch, so it's not difficult to switch it off. And it's got 7 different colours. Now, the reason I say to get these is, I just cut out a pretty simple vinyl sticker and I put it on the side. I can switch this on. Probably need to close down my blind so that you can actually see it changing colour. So it's quite bright. But I think it would be quite nice. You could have a different design on each side if you wanted to. And the other thing you could do if you wanted to make an actual box luminary and just slide it inside, you could. You don't have to put it directly on this. And of course, if you get fed up with the design, it is cycling colours here. I'm not picking it up on my camera display. It might show on the actual footage. On my camera display, it's not actually coming up very well with the changing colours. Ooh, that's really red. So you could just make a luminary box and put it inside, and you could, when you got fed up with the design, you can take it off and you can put something else on. So for example, you can make this for Christmas, put various Christmas designs on it. After Christmas, take those off and leave it until, for example, you have a birthday party or an anniversary, and then do something completely different and put it on. It is made of plastic, not glass. It is a slightly flexible plastic. It's very firm from each corner. I mean, it's not going to squish like that. But there's a little bit of give in the actual sides. So, yeah, I think that's quite a nice idea for a temporary decoration. I said it will last 22 hours on one set of batteries. So there we go. If you want to get something like that, get it now before it's too late to get the delivery for Christmas.